Hello, welcome. We're having a little bit of tech issues. That is okay. We're still going to be great today. All right, so talking about kind of a different topic today. I've been having a lot of phone calls with women and women of color as I've been enrolling for my Fearless Branding Formula. That's my program that helps women of color land a six-figure promotion and increase their salaries by $20 to $50,000 using their personal brand. And we do this in 90 days, regardless of the job market, regardless of a recession. And as I'm having these conversations, a theme kept coming up. Actually, two themes: imposter syndrome and workplace trauma. And I think they go together. So tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about overcoming imposter syndrome. Tonight, it was on my spirit to really talk to you all about overcoming workplace trauma, especially as a woman of color. Inside my program, the Fearless Branding Formula, I have a unique process that I take my women through to help them overcome this because it is trauma. And I'll let you know kind of some clues I have into what's trauma versus just a bad experience and some of the things that we do inside the program to, I want to say, gently um, recognize the trauma and help women overcome it so that they can turbocharge in their career. When I see women of color overcome this workplace trauma, and I will say most women that come to me have workplace trauma. And I just think that's just being a Black woman in corporate America, being a woman of color, an Asian woman, and Hispanic woman in a place that wasn't designed for you, that you can still excel in. It does come with a certain level of trauma. I'm not saying every single place. I'm saying by the time these women get to me, they've experienced some level of workplace trauma, right? And so that makes it hard for them to trust someone else, trust the process, trust leadership, right? Trust just another company in general. It makes it hard. So if you don't trust anyone, you tend to try to do everything by yourself, and doing things by yourself will keep you stalled and keep you stuck, as well as this other mindset. So tonight I want to share with you all some practical tips on how to overcome workplace trauma. And if you want, share your experiences. Let me know what's going on. I just want to hear from you all, okay? So, if you know anyone who needs to hear this, tag them, share this out, because I know for a fact most women of color, especially if you're a Black woman, has experienced some form of workplace trauma, okay? So, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, section. If you all are new to me, welcome. Hi. If you're new to my channel on YouTube, hey, my YouTube folks, or if you're new to my network on LinkedIn, hey, and welcome. If you want to hear more from me, I am going to be sharing tips, tricks, and secrets to help you land that six-figure promotion. I'm going to be going live every day. I think Wednesday is going to be my last day, and then I'm going to continue my weekly schedule that I do this, minus the holidays. But if you are like, Latrice, I want to hear from you, I want to hear more, and you don't want to miss when I go live. Mondays I go live at 7 p.m. All the other days is when I can fit in my schedule, you guys. So be sure to follow me. If you're on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, and you got to hit that notification bell twice. You got to hit it twice. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and then you have to hit the notification bell twice as well. It's this new thing they're making everyone do. So you have to hit the notification bell twice so that you get notified by the platform when I'm going live, so that you never miss any of this pertinent and important information. All right. And welcome. I am Latrice Huff, career and leadership coach to ambitious women of color. It is my movement and my mission to put more women of color in six-figure roles and positions of power. Because I believe when we do this, when women of color make their own money, control their own career, we change the world. That has been proven. We invest more in our communities. We volunteer. We tithe more. One of the questions I always ask my clients is, when they make their desired salary, what do they want to do? And every one of them, 100% of them, always says something about like outside of them about their family or community. I have women that say, I want to tithe more, I want to donate more, I want to volunteer more, whether that's like in church or in the community. They say they want to help their families. So I know when I help you all and I help women of color make more money, I know I'm helping the world change for the better. So that is my movement. Thank you all for being a part of it, because we are getting more Black women and more women of color in positions of power and making six figures and beyond. And to do that, we have to overcome this workplace trauma. Again, as I've been having conversations with you all, it has been coming up in damn near every single conversation, right? One day I had 4 calls in one day, and every single one of those women suffered from workplace trauma. And you think it's your resume, you think it's the job market, you think it's all these other things outside of you, but what it really is that you are suffering and holding on to this trauma that you've experienced in the workplace, and no one is acknowledging it, and no one is letting you know that you can overcome this because it's keeping you stuck. Okay. So let me just share this. As I've been talking to these women, I know they suffer from workplace trauma because I'll ask them what they want. They're very hesitant to tell me what they want. They tell me the bare minimum. I say, tell me your Beyonce ideal dreams. They tell me the bare minimum, right? And then when I ask them, why aren't they there? They begin to tell me the most traumatic stories. Something terrible their boss said. Someone stole that credit for their work. Someone kind of shushed them. Someone called them condescending, told them they were too much. Something happened, and then it stuck with it, and they're telling me this like it happened yesterday. And when I ask them when it happened, a lot of times, you guys, it happened years ago. It happened years ago. Like, I had one person tell me something, and she was telling me how her boss said that she was a bad manager. And even though her employees were praising her, she was like, she's still in contact with people that she supervised years ago. And I asked her, I was like, how long ago had this happened? And she said it had happened 5 years ago, and she has never supervised since. Even though it wasn't true, she was still acting like it was true. And it had happened 5 years ago, but when she talked to me and described it, she had the emotion. I could see it on her face like it happened yesterday, like it happened this morning. And I knew it was a traumatic event for her. Having this, she has such a toxic boss, right? Because trauma has no timeline. So if you find yourself thinking about something that happened years ago, or even several months ago, or replaying it or retelling the story, and you are getting emotional because it is still bothering you, you're still hurt by it, that is trauma. It's okay, sis. But you do have to overcome it because it's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stuck. I have seen women already making six figures, in 200, multiple six figures. They suffer some sort of workplace trauma. It does not just keep them stuck, it takes them down. They start thinking, I need to take an $80,000 role now. It's like, what? What? Like, your value went nowhere. And let me just share this. Being laid off is a traumatic event. When you are doing your best, you're getting praise, you're, finding money for the company, making the company money, doing all these amazing things. And then all of a sudden your role is terminated for no reason of your own. That in itself can serve as a traumatic event. I want to say that. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about the trauma of being laid off, of someone suddenly telling you, yeah, I know you were great yesterday, but today we no longer need you. Don't come in. Effective immediately. Like, that in itself is traumatic. And if you're watching and this has happened to you, feel free to put this to share in the comments. Feel free to DM me privately. I have a lot of people that want to message me privately. You can DM me privately if this is connecting with you. But if this is resonating, you're like, Latrice, I have been through this. I am right here. I am stuck. I recommend that you join the Fearless Branding Formula. We have programs designed to help you. I'll share some of the pieces in the process that we work through. But one, you're going to get a coach. You're going to get a supportive community to pour into you. But you're also going to get mindset tools to help you overcome this trauma and consistently help you do this. It's not a one-time event. Okay. So if you're interested in that, I recommend go to sixfigurepromotion.com and go ahead and book a call with me, right? If you think you have workplace trauma, let's get on the phone. Let's chat. I can help you overcome it. I can let you know what you need to do. But let's have a conversation. I'm going to put up my banner. There we go. There we go. So go to sixfigurepromotion.com to enroll in Fearless Branding Formula. You can book a call with me and we can talk about getting you into that program. If you would like to try a free option first, I'm going to share this. I just completed the Secure the Bag 3-part series. So it's Secure the Bag Beyond Six Figures as a Woman of Color 3-part series. Amazing. Day 1 was all about the mindset of a six-figure earner. And we talked about overcoming imposter syndrome and being in toxic work environments and the impact that they can have on your mindset. So I highly recommend that. And I share with you all my client panel on Thursday. I interviewed 6 of my clients, and a lot of them had workplace trauma, you guys, and they're going to share how they overcame it, how they boosted their confidence. So if you're interested in that workshop and you're seeing that client panel, put branding in the comments, because I know a lot of people see my testimonials. I want you all to put branding in the comments, and you can hear from the women behind those case studies, behind those stories, because they are so inspirational. And I know you're going to see yourself in their story and how you can overcome and get that ideal salary and role as well. All right. So just put branding in the comments and we'll go ahead and send you that link. All right. But let me get started. Got my little notes here. And here's the thing. When it comes to overcoming workplace trauma, it is so important that you recognize it is trauma. So again, if you are retelling the story, if you're thinking about it and these emotions are coming up, like it's happening now, like it just happened yesterday, this is some sort of trauma. Okay. And give yourself the grace and the space to say, this is trauma. Not, I just need to get over it. I just need to get over it. Because when we say that, the actions that we take and we're like, I'm going to just update my resume. You're not. You're updating your resume from a place of trauma. So you're not going to include all of your accomplishments. You're going to be filtering what you write through what someone said to you, right? You're going to be leaving off pertinent and important information because you're not thinking clearly because you're suffering from trauma. So this is why when people come to me and they have workplace trauma, they want to be like, Latrice, update my resume, update my LinkedIn. And yeah, that sounds all good and all, but guess what? Until you recognize that you've had trauma and work to overcome that, anything you do from that energy, it's going to still keep you stuck. It's going to keep you in a loop. It's not going to work. And I'm sorry to tell you all this, but it has to be said. It's simply not going to work. Okay. And so let me share with you all what I've noticed that also comes up in speaking to some people. If you find yourself saying, oh, Latrice, oh, you tell me this, but like, oh, I'm being very selective about the roles that I choose. So I've only applied to 5 roles in about 7 months. That's keeping you stuck. And I have heard this time and time again. This is also another way and that I know that someone is stuck and they're in workplace trauma, because they'll tell me that they're being so selective that they've only applied to a handful of jobs because they want to make sure it's right. When in reality, that's not being selective, sis, that's self-sabotage. And it's keeping you stuck. And I see this a lot with people who have been laid off. It's like, you were in a toxic environment, you suffered workplace trauma, then the layoff came, and then you're like, I never want to experience that again. So your over selection is actually a form of self-sabotage because you're not even applying to enough roles to be in the game. Applying to one role every other month is not in the game. You're not job searching. You're looking at jobs and you're letting your trauma get the best of you. And so what I recommend is before you apply, Seriously, write down that experience that you had. How does it make you feel? What are you feeling right in this moment? What do you need to have you feel better, even if it's just 10% better? How can you shift your energy? Literally write these things down. Give yourself 10 ways. Like, get all the emotions out. Have a good cry if you need to. Don't try to hold everything in. I like to write things out, but you can write it out or you can voice note it. The main thing is we're getting it out of our mind and out of our bodies, you guys. Either on paper or recording, but we're getting it out of us. So now we can start to think a little clearly. From there, we're going to say, what do I need? Do I need a nap? Do I need water? Do I need to go for a walk? Okay, this is before you start looking and applying. Because when you're looking and applying from this place of trauma, nothing's going to work because you're like, I want to avoid this thing, the way your previous job was by all costs. It's like, I want to avoid it. I want to avoid it. So then you don't actually apply. You look through the job application. They want me to do what? That ain't right. They toxic. And it can be some great companies out there, but you're missing them by being overly selective. Now, I'm not talking about actually being selective, which I recommend. Okay. I truly recommend being selective, knowing what you want, only going after roles that you want, right? But when we're overly selective and we're only applying to a handful of jobs in several months, it's actually keeping us unemployed. It's keeping you stuck. Let me see. Hey, Tanisha. I see as you all are joining, give me a hey, give me a hi. Sometimes the comments show up on my screen. Sometimes I got to look at them on my phone, you guys. But I wanted to start there. Get that emotions out, start to process it, and then write down 10 things that you need to make yourself feel better. 10 things. And only you need to see this list. This is up to you. And here's the thing, give that to yourself. Select one and do it, and actually do it. A lot of times we get so stuck in, I got to look for a job, I got to look for a job, that we take two routes. We keep looking, never applying, just looking, searching, or we do avoidance. But each one leads us to, hey, you're only applying for a handful of jobs in several months. And this is what I've been hearing a lot of. People who've been unemployed 7 months, 10 months, 12 months. I've even talked to people who've been unemployed for 24 months, and they're telling me they've only gotten a couple interviews, but that's because they've only applied to maybe 5 or 6 jobs in this entire time because they're being overly selective when really they're suffering from workplace trauma and self-sabotaging. And this is what I mean by this keeping you stuck. You have to process that. You have to give yourself what you need. When you write this list down, you actually have to do one of those things, right? Whether it's talk to a friend, go for a walk. In my community, what I recommend is like we work together. We have co-working sessions, right? So a lot of people have been asking me, Latrice, what's the time commitment for the program? I'll tell them 1 to 3 hours per week, per week. And if you need to, you can come to the group and do the work that you need to do. There is nothing like applying for a job when you have a group of supportive women cheering you on. In fact, we also have office hours too outside of the normal groups. And during office hours is where I recommend that they do this. I had 2 people do this. One woman was like, I haven't heard from this company in so long. I was like, did you follow up? She's like, no. And trauma was like, you shouldn't follow up. Don't chase. I was like, follow up. And second woman, same thing. I said, follow up right here, right now, with all of us supporting you. They both sent those messages and they both got replies back. One of them actually got that role. She thought they ghosted her, and she got that role. It is phenomenal and so powerful what a community can do. And a lot of times that trauma will have you thinking that you're alone and have you being isolated, but that's the opposite of what you want. This is why I've integrated such a community aspect in my program, because I've seen the power of what happens when Black women and women of color are poured into. This is another way you're going to overcome this workplace trauma, is having a supportive community and being poured into. All right. Let me check the comments. Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for watching. Thank you for Jason said this is so good. Thank you. Be sure tag someone. Share this out, you guys. I know I'm coming on a little late tonight. I spent a lot of time with my family today, and my son and my hubby. But I wanted to make sure that I came on here and shared this with you all. So share, repost it out, tag someone who needs to see this. We want to get this out to as many women of color as possible because we need to hear this. Okay. So thank you for joining, Tiffany. I appreciate it. All right, let me check, see if I have any other tips for you all. Self-sabotage. Okay, here's my other thing. So we talked about processing those emotions. We talked about like writing down what you need. We talked about the power of community. The other way to get help, I highly recommend a coach. A coach is going to help you process and see that you're actually suffering from workplace trauma. A coach will help you see. Let me just tell you this. I say a coach will help you see a lot. A coach will help you see your blind spots. You cannot see your own blind spots. If you think you can do everything by yourself and you're like, even the most insightful person cannot see their blind spots. And you need a coach to help you see that, help you get through, help you work through this process, right? And then I highly recommend a therapist. Trauma is trauma is trauma. Okay. And working with a coach, we go deep, and we do process, but the true healing is going to come with a therapist. Okay. So I recommend you do both. I call it the trifecta. When my clients work with a therapist, a coach, and then someone, I always say for like their body, like a personal trainer, a nutritionist, something like that. It's like the perfect trifecta. Magic happens. I've had my clients like lose 50 pounds, earn 50,000, and like get a new man all in like 3 to 6 months because they had this trifecta going on, right? And if you're like Latrice, and I heard this today. Someone was like, hey, Latrice, I don't have the money. I don't have the resources right now for a therapist. There are foundations out there. The Loveland, I hope I'm saying this right, lovelandfoundation.org is one where they specifically help Black women and women of color get vouchers for free therapy. Right. I give a lot of free content out there. My program is very affordable and we have several affordable payment plans. You should get help. If you are suffering from workplace trauma, this is not something you can overcome by yourself. I'm sharing with you all tips so that you can get started, but the true healing and true overcoming is going to be with help and someone else. And being isolated is part of the trauma. Don't feed into it anymore. Don't feed into it anymore. Okay. You truly know that when you overcome this, let me just tell you all what's on the other side. When you overcome this, I've seen women increase their salaries by not just 20 to 50,000, $60,000. I've seen women negotiate $20,000 bonuses, negotiate remote roles, negotiate their title. I've seen women, once they overcome workplace trauma, pass certification exams that they might have failed before because they were in a toxic environment. Okay. I have seen the magic. Let me tell you something. I done seen women get a new boo and drop an old boo and get a new boo, right? Because they're overcoming that trauma and they're building their confidence simultaneously. They're getting back to themselves of who they were. You ever seen somebody healed, how at peace and beautiful they are, how they just start to attract good things to them? Their energy and aura is different. This is what happens when you overcome that workplace trauma. And when you're suffering from trauma, it weighs you down. It weighs you down. It's like a negative, it's like a dark cloud over your head. So it's okay if you recognize that, and I'm going to use it, that you're suffering from this or you're struggling with this, because there is help and there is life on the other side. I have seen women very quickly overcome workplace trauma and start living their best life. I mean, traveling, like traveling, working remote, paying off debt, investing in properties. I mean, living their best life and free to do it. Even if they've already had the resources, they might have never had the confidence, the lightness to do these things. And now they do. So I just wanted to share that. There's if you suffer from workplace trauma, if you've been laid off, there's life after a layoff. If you've been terminated, there's life after a termination, right? If you had a terrible boss, please know that terrible boss does not control your career or your financial freedom and your financial trajectory, okay? And it is life after a bad boss. All right. It is all of these things you can overcome. If you've been listening and you're like, Latrice, this is amazing, and you want more support, you want to overcome workplace trauma, you want to get in that six-figure role without sacrificing your personal freedom and family time, and you're like, Latrice, I want financial freedom, I invite you to join the Fearless Branding Formula. That is my personal branding and mindset program exclusively designed for you. It is exclusively designed for women of color to help you land that six-figure promotion and increase your salary by $20,000 to $50,000 using your personal brand. And we're doing this in 90 days, regardless of the recession, regardless of a job market, and regardless of who the president is. We're doing this, okay? If you're interested in joining the program and you want to book a call with me, if you're like, hey, Latrice, I want to talk to you, book a call with me, go to sixfigurepromotion.com. I'll put this in the comments as well. And I think I have the link in the description. But we're enrolling now. I'm going to be giving away like special bonuses and prizes. So be sure, get on my email list, join the Six Figure Promotion, have that call with me. You will have an amazing opportunity. You're going to see so much life and potential on the other side of this workplace trauma. And I'm excited for you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you all for watching. I know this has been like a little bit of heavy topic. I was trying to make it as light as possible, but I know it's a little heavy topic. Be sure to join me tomorrow where I'm going to be going over how to overcome imposter syndrome as a woman of color. So be sure to follow me and hit that notification bell twice so you get notified when I go live. Have a good night.